I mean, it's one thing to go to a church and as a formality, yeah, as a way of worshiping God, but that's religion. What I'm talking about is an experience of walking with Christ, living with Christ, and we're living with a body of people that want to do the same thing together. And that's a living organization. And that's what I'm excited about is happening right now.
I started going there when I was probably a junior in high school. My sister worked in the 5 and 10. And so Ray Belmont, I think, went in there a lot and was telling her about the church services on Thursday night.
Okay, that makes sense.
And tried it out. I played the piano a little bit, but I ended up playing the piano for that church for 27 and a half years.
There was a lady there that donated the piece of land. That was the beginning of the church. I handled every cinder block in that building. My stepfather and I delivered all of those blocks. He slid them down a plank and I piled them all.
Yvonne Smith and me did so much painting in that church.
But Ray was at the church for a lot of years. You would never find, he was what you call a fire and brimstone pastor.
Good.
And I came along in 1956.
Wow.
So my whole life was the church.
We came to a Sunday night service, and I had just been diagnosed with Bell's palsy. They were calling people to the front, to the altar, and finally it was almost like God picked me out of my seat and pushed me right down the aisle. I went to bed that night. It was like somebody took a feather right across my face. And I didn't even get up. I knew I'd been healed. And I'm yelling at my husband and saying, it's our church. That's where we're going to go to church from now on. And that's exactly what we did.
Actually, it's 50 years ago. This month, my parents brought me to Mansfield from Chambersburg. My mom, very interested that I find a church. She looked through and said, okay, we got churches here. We've got this one and this one. Highway Tabernacle. I'm standing in the back looking in the windows. What do I see? A grand piano and a Hammond organ. I'm home. That night I went back for church in the evening and it was over and I went up to the girl that was playing. I said, do you mind if I play the organ? She says, well, like, can you? And I said, well, just let me.
I said, well, just play for us and let's just see how you do.
Oh, he's so
And so the next Sunday, I booked him.
She goes, all right, from now on, you're the organist and my mom's the pianist. And if she's not here, you're playing it. She just bossed me right all over.
Of course, one of the things that still is part of our life is that of New Covenant Academy. We opened the doors in 1979. The other teacher, besides myself, was Tom Putnam. And it was wonderful because there was a lot of exploring, a lot of opportunities for the church to become involved. Here we are, some 44 years later with New Covenant.
Another thing I think was important is our involvement with the college ministry. We got up there and got involved in this campus worship. I can't figure out what we're supposed to be doing here, because it seemed like they had things going. And all of a sudden, the Lord just dropped in my heart. He said, just be there.
We started getting more and more involved with the church and the fellowship. Home to home, I can remember standing up in church one day to give testimony, and I said, this has been such a great week because every single day we were in somebody's home, all 7 days.
The thing about the church was the people.
Well, when you mentioned my dad was always about salvation. He wanted people to know Jesus Christ in their heart. His desire would be that the church would never stray from that message.
I don't want to wait for the next generation. I want the generation now to experience revival and the awakening so that can be passed on to the next generation.
I want to see the generation, I want them to know who they are, whose they are.
I want to see for the next generation, for the parents, I want them to know this is a place you can bring your kids and they're going to be safe here. They're going to learn what's right.
For the older men to mentor the younger men, and the younger men to seek out someone to mentor them. And same way with the ladies.
It's a dependable family that is always going to be there.
Clearly, Church of the New Covenant and its ministry and its teaching and its people have made a difference in my life. So I would like to replicate that. And I think in that there really is and can be a legacy.